Start recording. There we go. I will do attendance at the very end. Kyler, I'm going to mute you. There we go. Okie doke. So, like I said, yeah, I'll do attendance at the end. Congrats, guys. We are, I think, at week 6. So that means we are, well, we have 16 weeks. You know, we're over half of the way done. We should kind of be getting into that. You know, we've had our first, like, really 4 or 5 weeks of going really hard at the lectures and stuff like that. So now we should be able to kind of slow down at least a little bit now that you've got like the very basics, and start moving more into like the ethnography, moving more into like our presentations that we're going to be doing, so that as the end of the semester winds down, as it comes close to your ethnographies being due, that you guys are very much prepared. And I hate to admit, but I do not have the entirety of everything quite done for like the last part of the semester, but I'm going to go through and publish all this so you at least you can see what I have done so far. But over the next couple weeks, we have that names and narrative, which we've talked about. But then probably starting on Friday, I will start talking about language and verbal communication. You might notice a little bit of a shift, like I said, coming into this, because this is the stuff that I really, really enjoy. You know, we start kind of with, you know, the really super basics, like the history, the building blocks, identity. But now we're getting into more of the stuff of what I consider, you know, personally to be the funner things. So language, different nonverbals. Part of, I think, one of our assignments that I don't actually have up yet is you guys have to go and find a nonverbal in a culture that means something different than it does here. So like in Vietnam, you know, here we cross our fingers for luck. Here you are very much insulting someone if you're over in Vietnam. You know, in certain places in Europe, you might get beat up depending on how you flash your peace sign to people, because you're calling someone, again, a not very nice name. But we can start getting into the things that might be more applicable to you guys rather than thinking like, oh, I don't care about histories or whatever. Language, nonverbals, traveling, pop culture tends to be a lot more interesting for you guys. But now that we've covered the basics, we can start getting into that stuff. But as you can see here, we do have a language presentation coming up. So we're going to be talking about languages on Friday, probably more so. We might talk about it a little bit today, because, you know, this is another section of thing that you could use for your ethnography, but we might also just take some time today to talk about our ethnographies. Oh, look at cat. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted. But verbal comm is the fun stuff. So, at least I think it is, because I'm a nerd. Okay. One thing I do want to talk about, though, is this. So, I am going to give you guys this little presentation right here as kind of a preview into the language section that we're going to talk about on Friday. Did you guys have any questions from anything else that we've covered so far? Anything from like Monday or last week? Okay, well, if you do, just feel free to pop in. If I'm giving this presentation, please pop in the chat rather than unmuting yourself. But so just kind of basic general background. Let me turn down the light so you guys can see that a little bit better. Okay, there we go. I feel like I've had a lot of presentations today. Okay. So part of, you know, our language section is going to be that you guys are going to be teaching us parts of the language. You do not have to choose the language that you are doing for your ethnography, but I would highly suggest it, because then you will have some sources for your language, and then you can take a lot of your information and then just put it straight into your paper. So pretty much all of these assignments we are doing, you can take most, if not all of it, and just put it in your paper so that you don't have to worry about writing a 10-page paper in like 2 weeks. Okay, so let me get my presentation self ready. And then if you guys happen to be on Zoom, you guys can present these on Zoom. If you're in class, we can present it in class. Maybe we'll do it on a Wednesday where people are actually here sitting in person, but it'll just depend. Okay. So I'm gonna pretend to be one of you guys here for a second, okay? So, hello, my name is Kylie Becker. I'm doing my ethnography over the Czech Republic. And today I'm going to give you guys a quick little Czech language lesson. So here are some super, super basic Czech words. So if you'd like to say hello to people, if you'd like to do it informally, you would say ahoy. If you'd like to say good day, something maybe a little more formal, dobrý den. If you'd like to ask how are you, you could say jak se máš. If you want to do it informally, like if you're talking with one of your friends, if you're talking to someone older than you, or if you'd like to say it more formally, you could say jak se máte. If you're introducing yourself more informally, you would just say já jsem, or you could say jmenuji je or jmenuji se, and then whatever your name is. So I would say já jsem Kylie. To say yes, you could just say jo or ano, no, ne. Thank you. Informally, it's just like dík or díky. And then thank you more formally is děkuji. If you'd like to say please, if you're asking for something, you could say prosím. So if you want to tell someone that you don't understand, because they do talk quite quickly in the Czech Republic, you would say ne rozumím. To say I understand would be rozumím. Excuse me, so if you're trying to get past someone, you could say promiňte or just promiň. And then when you leave someone, you can informally just say našle or nashledáno. Sounds pretty easy, right? Not particularly, actually. It is a Slavic-based language, but it is not a Slavic language that uses Cyrillic. It's a Slavic language that uses the Latin alphabet, but it uses a modified Latin alphabet, which I'll talk about on the next slide. But it is considered a Category 4 language for English language learners, which means on average, it takes roughly 44 weeks to be considered anywhere near, good or fluent at the language. And that's 44 weeks of relatively consistent practice. That is almost a year, because there's 52 weeks in a year, right? Obviously, there's harder languages for people who speak English to learn, like Chinese, a lot of the Arabic languages, Category 5, roughly 88 weeks. But yeah, for Czech in particular, roughly 44 weeks to be considered decent at it or anywhere near fluent. So this is what the Czech alphabet looks like. As you can see, it is, a standard Latin alphabet with some modifications. So you have letters like ch, j, h, ny, rsh, sh, ch, j. And then if you'd actually like to listen to the music or listen to the language, here's a song. That was really loud when it first came on. But this is Ti Ya, which means you and I. So obviously, it's a love song to an extent. Okay, we got to stop it before I start singing along because none of y'all want to hear that. But thank you for your attention, and there was your really quick look into the Czech language. So, woohoo, yay, bow out, okay. But see, pretty simple, not too terribly long. You learned a couple words, you got to listen to it. Travis, a sociology professor, showed me this. I think it's like Wiki Tongues or whatever, I think. Yeah, it is this. Oh my gosh, why am I keep going out of focus? There we go, okay. And they have a whole bunch of like language examples too. So, you know, obviously Spanish is a really easy one to find, a Mexican Spanish or Spain Spanish. But Syriac or Aramaic, Turkana, Vietnamese, Arabic, Kurdish, sign language in Brazil, that's pretty cool. Portuguese, particularly of the Iberian Peninsula, so like actually Portugal, not like Brazilian Portuguese. But yeah, so this, actually I'm going to throw this into your, into this. There we go. So now that YouTube page is in that language assignment, and you're welcome to put some clips in there if you'd like to, or you can even you can cite these as well. So Valencian, Catalan, yeah. But feel free to look through that. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I want to start that on Friday. That you guys can watch on your own. Do you guys have any questions about the things that are coming up here soon? Like I said, wait, what am I trying to say? Like I said, what did I say? A lot of this stuff, if not most of it, can and should be a part of your ethnography. So I'd like to spend a couple minutes, I'm gonna stop the recording, but I would like to get some feedback from everyone about how their stuff is coming along, at least with that, because it is such a long paper and it is intimidating to a lot of people. So